What do you mean? I'm having a day, y'all. Just having a day. I usually write a script for my videos, an outline, bullet points, help me get through it. Not today. So, this might be all over the place. Got some bananas here. Got a flat, sugar-free Red Thunder. All right, let's start. If you want what you've never had, you have to do what you've never done. What the does that even mean? Before getting sober, I spent years trying to stop drinking and getting high on my own, and nothing seemed to work, at least not for long, until I did something completely out of my comfort zone, something I never thought I would do, and to be frank, who's he, something I didn't really want to do. I went to AA, and it worked for a while. But let me point out first that this video is not about AA. I'm no longer a part of that fellowship, still have mad love for it, but I only mentioned that story to demonstrate this idea of getting what you've never had, in this case, sobriety, by doing something you've never done, in this case, AA. But there's more to this phrase than that. I think there's a reason why it's commonly heard in recovery and sobriety circles, and self-help circles for that matter. This video is going to do its best to dive into where the phrase originated, why it's connected to sobriety in the first place, if it's still useful, all that stuff, you know? Ready? Cool. Welcome to, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie K. Campbell. You can call me Allie. My videos are about getting real, having fun, and living sober in no particular order. I'm a big old gay mo, and quite possibly the poster child for ADHD. So a lot of my content deals with queerness and being a neurodivergent person. That's who I am as a human being. This video is a little bit different because this is the first of a series that I've been wanting to do for a while, but again, ADHD, procrastination, blah, 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 blah. It's a series called, you guessed it, What Do You Mean? Where I'm going to decode common sobriety and recovery sayings, maybe more areas as well, who knows. Because I like doing this nerdy research. My lovely patrons helped me pick the first phrase / saying to decode and dive into. So thank you guys for that. A special thanks to my patrons in the executive director tier, Anna, Beth, Naomi, Pam, Patricia, Rachel, and Tom. You guys are the bee's knees. You want to join these super duper cool folks in helping me keep the lights on over here at Studio Campbell. That's not a real place. Click the link for my Patreon in the description of this video. Okay, sweet, what's next? Right, the video itself. So in my 4+ years of sobriety, too many times have I seen people who are new to the world of sobriety and have no idea what most of the lingo or the phrases or the sayings or the jargon, quite frankly, mean. This is especially true in AA and NA and other 12-step programs. Although you do eventually learn the terms and the phrases that are being thrown around constantly, it takes a while, so you have to spend a lot of time in the environment, and who's to say that you even will, really? Plus, who doesn't love a quick fix? I know I do. Anyway, I first heard this phrase or saying or whatever we want to call it in an AA meeting. Someone was speaking on it in reference. They weren't cross-talking. Cross-talking is another phrase that you might not know what that means because it's a recovery term. I'll add that to the list. Boom. Somebody shared something, somebody else shared something in response to what the first person shared, but in a kind of roundabout way. The first person was saying how they were struggling to detach from people, places, and things. That's another one. Nouns, essentially, that triggered them to drink, to which point this other person used this phrase as a way to indirectly respond to that situation by saying, if you do what you've always done, or if you hang out with who you always hung out with, you're gonna get what you always got, or you're gonna get who you've always got, which makes sense, right? I immediately loved the phrase. First of all, like I said, I like quick fixes. So phrases, acronyms, anything that could be long and drawn out, which I usually do to things, but is compact and small in a little package, works better for me. However, I wanted to look deeper into it. So this is gonna be the first of this series. If you'd like to get updated anytime I create a new video for this series, or you wanna help me figure out which phrases and terms to add to the series, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. You'll also get some other cool stuff like sober dating advice. Plus you get to see my face on a regular basis. I wanna start with the history of this phrase. There's a couple of different versions of it. If you want something you never had, you must be willing to do something you have never done. If you want what you've never had, you've got to do what you've never done. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll keep getting what you've been getting. It all has the same essence, right? Who was the first person to say this? Apparently, Thomas Jefferson. That's actually not the case. Everything is always somehow attributed to a white man. We just assume that a white man did it, right? The internet mostly thought that Thomas Jefferson said this for a while, until around 2013, a research librarian named Anna Burks looked through all of Thomas Jefferson's writings and found absolutely no mention of this phrase, not even any version of it, and basically went back to the internet and was like, you guys are fucking stupid. He didn't say this. Yet the internet continued to do what the internet does, so they took the quote, they pasted some text on top of a picture of a snowy mountain and wrote Thomas Jefferson. The truth is, based on what I could find, the author of this quote, the creator of this quote, is unknown. And it's very possible that it is just a variation on a theme of a different quote that has just been passed on and on and on and on. It's most often used in self-development circles. Probably would say that that's how it ended up in recovery land. A lot of people who enter into recovery or are trying to get sober, they also seem to be rather consumed with other aspects of self-development in their life. And I don't know how seriously you guys take Reddit threads. I take them very seriously. I understand that like there's no like true scientific evidence. It's all anecdotal. That's fine. I totally get it. With a grain of salt, of course, but a grain of salt that I think holds a little bit of legitimate weight, because I did see a thread about this quote, other people trying to find the origin of this, going back and forth. Thomas Jefferson, not Thomas Jefferson, this guy, that guy. No, none of them. Because 5 years ago, meaning around like 2015, 2 to 3 years after our girl Anne came in and said that Thomas Jefferson did not say this, somebody on Reddit said this. They gave up. So I haven't been the only one having a hard time tracking it down is basically what I'm trying to say. The history of it is still kind of up in the air. Very up in the air. Some other Redditors who are probably far better at research than I am did get some legitimate sources that they posted in that thread. The quote first appeared in the Journal of the National Medical Association in 2004, which was almost 200 years after Jefferson kicked the can. Again, the author is unknown. Thomas Jefferson did not say it. Not much on the history of it. Number 2, I want to get into its relation to recovery and sobriety. Weirdly enough, this phrase does pop up a lot in recovery sayings. I heard it said in several different meetings across different programs of sobriety, not just AA. Several treatment centers sling it, and there are even some AA-centered blogs and sites out there that source it as like a well-known saying that the fellowship uses. Although I will also point out that it's not like official literature or anything like that. Many people who get sober do so in part by making a huge change in their life in order to support that decision to get sober, like going to rehab, joining a cult, a 12-step program, cutting ties with people they've known forever, quitting their job, beginning therapy, getting on mental health meds, leaving their marriage, etc., etc. And I think that most people in the recovery/sobriety community would agree with me that it does require at least one major change in order to get sober, and probably several major changes to stay sober. Meaning you have to change something. Either you need to stop, or something you've been doing, or something you haven't done, you need to start. At the very least, not doing drugs and alcohol anymore. That's a huge change. Many of us, at least I have at times said that we've tried everything to get sober. We've tried everything, but are conveniently leaving out the fact that we didn't break up with our drug dealer boyfriend, check into treatment, tried any actual sobriety program. Based on the quote's logic, this phrase's logic, and how it would relate to sobriety, it's saying that anything you've done or haven't done up until this point in regard to your relationship with drugs and alcohol hasn't worked. So you probably have to do something else. I think that there's a lot of truth there for most people who find themselves in sobriety. Kind of is just a big nod to the requirement to get out of your comfort zone in order to get sober. That's a requirement, I would say. Bear with me here. I'm not sure if this is the way that these videos are always going to be formatted, but trial and error, you know? Next thing I want to look at, is this phrase helpful or harmful? Maybe it's somewhere in between. I hate to say this because it's such a Libra cliche. It depends. Of course, it depends. In terms of recovery, it was mostly helpful for me, but it will depend heavily on the context. So I found it really valuable because it spoke to something that I already knew but wasn't ready to admit, that like the lifestyle that I was leading wasn't working for me. Everything that I have tried up until that point did not help me to get sober, or it didn't successfully get me sober in the way that I wanted to be. Think of ways that this phrase may not be so helpful. Do something you've never done to get something you've never had simplifies and diminishes like the experiences of individuals in the process of recovery. It could be harmful if wielded by the wrong people, and you don't ever really know what somebody's done to get to the point where they are, or if they ever had access to the things that are needed to get to that point. But if they've never had the opportunity or the ability or the privilege to have those things, well then the saying is useless. Would love to hear what you guys think about it. Like, Do you think it's helpful? Do you think it's harmful? Like I said, this is the first of this series of videos, and I'm gonna be doing more common recovery sayings in the future, so I would love to have some feedback on that. Please like this video and comment, subscribe if you'd like to get the rest of these videos. I'll probably make like 7 and see how they do, and then if they are like flopping and nobody likes them, I'll just move on and do something else. Feel free to connect with me on my other social media channels, TikTok and Instagram. And yeah, with that, it's been real, it's been fun, and it's been real fun. Bye-bye.